morning, Joy. How are
Good
you?
morning. Good. How are
Hey,
you?
thanks for coming. Good morning to everybody out there. This is the Business Builder Podcast with Brother Juice, aka Justin Gates. I should have said that the other way around. This podcast is for people who are it's a platform for business operators and owners to talk to their audience, and so their clients and potential clients can get to know them. Joy is for Brad Sizemore Insurance. We are in the same BNI group together. She's a wonderful person. And tell us again what seat you hold there.
In the BNI group, I hold the commercial insurance seat.
Right on. And commercial insurance, you told me before, but tell everybody out there that might not know.
So, commercial insurance is insurance for your business.
Awesome.
Everything that you own, general liability, workers' comp,
Right.
everything to do with your business.
So I have a gym and I've got stuff, and you said, oh, we can, insure the stuff that you have because, yeah, that's pretty cool because the stuff that I have is expensive and I don't want to have to buy it again.
And the building, if you own the building.
Yeah. No, I don't own the building. I wish I owned the building.
What about the upfit?
You know what? There's not much upfit because I
You could save some money right there.
yeah, I mean, I run clean, man. I don't have a big upfit cost. I mean, for me, it's just mats and just minimal equipment. I've always been like a skeleton kind of a operator. Well, mainly because I didn't have any money. So,
Well, less is more sometimes.
yeah. So now I do have a little bit of stuff now. I've been doing it for a while. All right, so let's just jump right in. Your origin story, and I know you looked at these a little bit, but what made you decide to get into the business?
Insurance. I never thought I would be in the insurance industry. It was not on my radar. No one in my family was in insurance. I didn't have a good relationship with my insurance agent. I didn't have an insurance agent. So I left property management and I had kind of bankrolled some money from a lease up opportunity. So I decided to move back to Wilmington and I went to a temp agency and they sent me somewhere else and it did not work out after about 3 weeks. So then they sent me to Brad Sizemore Insurance and I started as a temp. And after about 4 months, the owner said, why don't you get insurance license? And I'm like, I kind of know what that means, but what does that mean? And so he told me, so I got licensed and then I've worked in many, many of the positions, mostly all the positions at my company.
Really?
And now
That's the best way to learn, I think.
yeah, 9 years in.
Yeah, and you're still here.
Yeah, I think my first day was September 27th, 2015.
That's wow.
So it's coming up 9 years. I cannot believe it.
Man.
I know.
It's like, where's the time go?
I have no idea.
So what was the thing that you the job you didn't last at? What was that?
It was a mortgage processor.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's sometimes just a slight shift to the left or right is the right fit, I used to work one time. I worked at this place where they did molding. They made like molding for baseboards and stuff like that, but it was picture frame molding too. And it wasn't like a hard job. It wasn't easy either, but I was so different from everybody else there that I got fired because they were like, yeah, we just can't handle you. And I'm like, I'm not that bad. And the poor guy, he was such a nice guy, man. He'd never fired anybody before.
Oh my gosh.
But I was such an odd fit for them. They're like, we don't know what to do with this dude. Like, get rid of him. And he was like, I don't want to fire him. So he was almost in tears when he had to let me go. I felt so bad for him. I was like, I'll just go, man. I'll just go. Like,
oh my gosh.
Save you the hassle.
It's hard to do that.
Oh, dude, I felt so bad for him. He was such a nice guy. If you're out there, dude, you know who you are. You're a nice guy. I don't hold it against you, man. And you know what? It wasn't a good fit. So it's always interesting to me how people got to where they are, you know? Because a lot of times you're like, I never thought I would be here. As we were talking about before, like me getting baptized, I never thought I would do that. I talked to my mom on the beach yesterday afterwards. I said, well, she's like, I'm so appreciative. She was all happy and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I just did something I never thought I would do.
Best decision you'll ever make in your life.
Yeah, I totally agree. Every journey has obstacles. What was one of the biggest challenges you faced early on, and how did you overcome it?
I would have to say I've been a single mom pretty much most of my life. So my daughter's 17 and juggling working full time, sometimes 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And she's in school. She was originally in the school district that we lived in. Then she started going to a school district because we moved. So
Right.
she was in a different school district. So taking her to and from school every day, picking her up. If it wasn't for my employer, giving me the flexibility to take a late lunch or come in late some days or work early and then leave, it was just such a blessing. But that was probably one of the biggest struggles, just trying to balance that.
It is, it was me and my mom, and my brother from like 3 to 12. And so, basically we were raised by a single mother. So I totally get that. And it is, my daughter right now is kind of doing the same thing. And I was like, that's the hardest thing you can possibly do.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. And God bless your employer for, being able to work with you like that. 'Cause some of them don't. Some of them are real strict, and then they're just like, well, it's like, well, if you want me to work,
Yeah.
it's like how important is some of this stuff that I can't just be gone for just a second and come back,
But that's it. I always gave my all at my job. I still give my all. I give my all to, I like to think everything that I do. So just proving myself
Yeah.
is really, I guess, helped them to see that.
Well, certainly you live up to your name because
Thanks, Dad.
I actually saw you on a commercial. Like I was in Carolina Beach, right? And we're watching. My dad's a big college football fan. I don't watch college football, but he does, and so it's me, him, my brother. We're just sitting watching college football all day. And this Brad Sizemore commercial pops up, and it's you at a desk with some other people. And I was like, "Oh, I know her.
That's me."
She's in my group." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "That's Joy." I was like, "Look at her smiling. Like she's doing her name." It's like
That's so funny. It
Well,
is kind of hard to be depressed whenever your name's Joy.
it really is, And side story, like my name is Justin, which means justice. So if somebody wrongs me, I'm just like, I have to. And a friend of mine, she was part of one of my mentors on this, on my faith walk. And she's like, no, she's like, you can't go after vengeance. And I was like, that's my name.
But that's not
Like,
your job.
It means something to me. I was like, you shouldn't have named me that because it means something to me. She's like, no, vengeance is for the Lord. And I was like,
You just sit on your hands.
that was a tough one for me to let go of because I was like, we shouldn't have named me that. Name me Peace or something like that. would have had a
You
different
can do a
outcome.
name change. You are an adult.
Yeah, but I'm attached to it now. Like all my documents are that. Like all my
Change it to,
passwords
like
are linked
Justy
up
or
to it.
something.
Anywho, well, fantastic. Was there a moment when you realized the business was going to be successful? Now I know you're like an employee in the business, but was there a moment where you were like, "Hey, I think I can make it like this. This thing is the thing that I can do for the long term and have prosperity. I can take care of myself. I can take care of my daughter, and we can have a life."
I think it kind of goes back to my employer just being flexible with if I wanted to do something within the business, if it was within reason, he's like, yeah, go for it. Shoot for the stars. I wanted to work more in outside sales and move to working with commercial businesses. I love talking to people about insurance, educating the community about insurance. And that's one of our mission statements. So he's like, yeah, you can go out in the field. You can talk with people. You can bring in new clients. And that helped.
Heck yeah.
My
Yeah,
pocketbook
'cause-
and it helped the business. And I'm like, okay, I can manage the business. I can manage my office. I can help my staff. I can train my staff, but I can also be out in the field. So,
I mean, what employer doesn't want somebody who's going to be like, "Hey, boss, you mind if I go out and make some more money?"
right,
It's like,
exactly.
I want to do things that bring money in. It's like,
Yeah.
tell me an employer who's going to be like, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah, I don't
Like,
think you should do that.
Actually, I did work for a guy who was sketchy about that kind of stuff. It was so crazy because I actually wrote a book about it, or that chapter of my life, because I was so mad about how things were going. And I was like, I got to get it out. I'm gonna destroy something. I needed a creative outlet. So I ended up writing a book about all these stories, and one of the last ones was about my boss who, on our last day, we had an opportunity to go out and do something with the Wi-Fi router with some a hotel downtown. They were calling us, and we weren't really IT guys, but we could go and at least take a look and reset a router, something like that. And he was like, "Nah, I don't want to get involved with that. I think it's going to be a headache." And we're like, "Dude, you were just complaining about money like last week." And me and dude that I was with, we ran, like we were the alarm and security department. We oversaw like over 500 customers in like 4 or 5 county schools of fire alarms and security alarms, stuff like that, and did their cameras. And he was like, "No, I don't want to do it." We're like, "Dude, you okay. I don't know how you're going to turn down business, but
Yeah.
whatever. It is what it is, I guess. Still baffles me to this day. That's why I wrote the book, so I could just get that out of my head. I don't have to deal with it. So we talked about being a single mother. Outside of that, personal sacrifices. Was there any other thing that stood out or was a big draw? Because I know that's a big one. The just trying to do it on it. Because I mean, my son's with me most of the time, so I get it. Now, granted, I'm homeschooling him now because I wasn't able to get him enrolled in one of the private schools. You know, because now everybody's trying to go private school and homeschool, and there's the waiting list is like crazy.
Yeah.
So I tried the two that I really wanted, and the rest of them were just a bit far of a drive. I was like, it's just too much because you got to keep because you live on the other side of town.
Yeah.
Even getting here, it's like it's almost going to
35 minutes.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
whole another world. And then if you put the buses on the road and all this, a College Road, I used to hate College Road in favor of Market, and now somebody explained it to me. It's like, look, man, you can hate College Road all you want to because he lived in Monkey Junction too, and he's like, nah, man, you can't ever make a left turn on Market without a suicide run. He's like, because there's those long stretches with no lights. He's like, College Road may have all these lights. He's like, but I know I'm going to get a turn. You know, at some point I'm going to take my turn. And I was like, never thought about it like that.
You're right.
So now whenever I have to make a left turn on Market, I'm just like,
Make sure your will's up to date.
Yeah, I'm just all
phone a
like-
friend.
here we go. Right, here we go. Got to make a left turn. So was there anything else on the personal sacrifice side that you stands out?
Just excuse me, trying to be involved with my family too, because I have a younger sister and she was going through some things, and I brought her nephew to live with me while she went through some recovery. And then while my child was younger, her grandparents, her dad's parents, really helped me out a lot and watched my daughter after school sometimes for me pretty much every day for a few years. And the opportunity came where I was able to help save their house.
Oh, that's awesome.
You pray, you're like, I can never repay. Sometimes people do stuff for you and you're like, I can never repay them for this kindness. And I would pray, thank you so much for them, and them being able to step in. If she was sick from school, she could go to their house, and so I could work. And I never thought a day would come when I could even begin to repay them. And when this opportunity came up, they were in a bad situation, and I was able to step in and help them save their house. And if I hadn't have been able
That's
to work,
fantastic. Yeah.
because they kept her all those days, then I wouldn't have been in a financial situation or had the credit to step in and do that. So it was a labor of love because it was a lot of work on the house, a lot of financial, but it was really worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing like being able to repay somebody like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a blessing. It's like one of those things where like, and you can, when you see the opportunity pop up, you're like, I'm about to slam dunk this. It's like, you guys are going to be so happy.
Well, that's when they first told me the situation. I'm like, okay, well, let me know how it goes. I'm sorry, we'll figure something out. And then a few days later, I couldn't sleep. All I did was think about it. And I got a little inkling in my mind, you can do this. And I'm like, do what? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to, without going into much detail, like, how am I supposed to fix that?
Yeah.
And so I just started making phone calls and talking to people and praying about it. And every door was opened.
And that
It wasn't easy,
Yeah.
but and it literally came down, every situation came down to the last second. And I'm like, I'm going to lose the deal right now. This is not going to work out. The inspection's not going to go through. This isn't going to happen. I'm not going to have the money to do this. Last second, it worked out. Even the day of closing, we were at the closing table and something fell through and the house was going to the courthouse steps like in a few days.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, all right, God, you brought me here, so I guess we're just going to wait and figure it out, as the soul is sinking out of my body and I'm about to throw up. And guess what? It all worked out.
How about that?
Yep.
Ain't that something, man?
Yep.
That's one thing I've learned too, kind of doing this. It's like, there's your time, and then there's like, the time that God's going to do something.
Yep.
You can.
That's so difficult.
Well, for me, it is because I was not born with a large reservoir of patience already,
Neither.
and so it's like if I'm like, oh, it's like I want to get something done, and it's just not happening. I'm just like that could like that theme music is going in my head like doo doo. It's like
Can we get that on the
it's like,
podcast? Can
let's
we
go.
get that music on the podcast?
You know, I can find it. Yeah, I can find it. So I mean, that was a good story because it's funny because the next one is customer impact stories. Can share a story about a time when, you know, your product or service made a huge impact on a customer's life. And kind of that was it right there. Is there any other example that sticks out, or is that like the peak, the pinnacle of it right there?
Well,
That was a pretty good
That's
one.
not a customer story. That's more like a personal story. But as far as customers go, I mean, every day I'm meeting business owners and they'll be talking about a pain point in their business. They'll be talking about the cost of their insurance. And then I'll start looking at their business with them and realizing they don't have the right coverage.
Right.
They have either too much coverage or they don't have enough coverage, or they used to offer services that they don't offer anymore that they had all these extra endorsements for. So it's really rewarding just to be able to sit down with the business owner or a decision maker, talk about their business. People love talking about their business.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot
That's why
get
I do
them
the
to shut up.
podcast. Yeah.
Right. So you learn so much, and I'm sitting there taking notes as hard as I can. And then I'll get their policy and I'll start looking at the endorsements and I'll start looking at the coverages and I'll say, okay, can I have your such and such document? What is that? We'll start looking. They don't have that coverage. And I'm like, okay, now I'm in danger because I'm in your business and you don't have this coverage.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
I trip and fall,
Yeah, exactly.
that's not a good deal for you. If you've got 4 employees now and you only had 3 before and you don't have a workers' comp policy, that's bad
is it
news.
4?
We need to have a talk. It's just
Yeah, it's just an example. Yeah.
So people just don't understand when their businesses change, even in the slightest. Like, okay, they buy a new car for their business, right? That's fine. But they add the car to their business policy. But do they do other things on their business policy to handle the service that they're doing with that car?
Right.
Because they're not just buying the car just to have it. They usually are doing a service for their business. They're putting their business equipment in that car to take it somewhere, and that business equipment is not covered when it's in transit if you don't have a certain endorsement.
Is that just a perfect story to kind of fit with this? Is that we have, when I did that other job, we had work vans with all these tools in them, and me and my partner, we pulled up to some barbecue joint, and we went inside and ate the barbecue, and for whatever reason, we left the doors unlocked. Now, look, if you've ever gone to a barbecue joint for lunch and you see work trucks there, all of them are unlocked. There's tools all over the place. They got tools in the back. They got all this stuff. We had this expensive hammer drill. It was like, I don't know, a couple $100, $300-$400. And it was the only one we had for all of us because we didn't use it a lot. But when we needed it, we needed it. And we left the thing, I don't know why we left it open. We left it open right next door to another truck. And when we come back, it's gone. It's gone, and our other DeWalt drills are gone, and we're like, oh, gee, like, so it's like $600-$700 worth of tools are just gone. There's no way to recoup that, and of course we don't have insurance, you know. So I was like, cover that stuff, fellas, if you got it, or else you just have to buy it again. And who wants that?
Yeah, don't do that. Or keep a check on your deductibles. I mean, if your deductibles are $500 to $1,000, is it worth filing a claim? That's why you need to talk to your agent if you don't just file a claim.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to your agent.
Yeah, that's why they're there. Like, even
right.
Tony Montana had a lawyer, right? Scarface.
Lawyers need a lawyer.
Give us a behind the scenes story about the business most people won't know but would find fascinating. Is there one? If there, tell us. We want to know. We gotta know.
Done. Let's see.
Like, what's the cool behind the scenes insurance stuff going on?
I think I'm going to talk about our owner again. He is such a kind person. He will come in the office and he doesn't get right to business. He doesn't go straight to his desk. He doesn't even have a desk really at our office.
Really?
Mm-mm.
That's interesting.
He comes in and he's like, hey, how's the air conditioner doing? Is the vent blowing too much on you? How's your chair feel? Is your computer doing okay? Do you need a new mouse? He walks around. He's like, we need to order some more coffee for the coffee maker. Kelly, go ahead and get that ordered. Or he'll come to my office and he'll say, we've got some extra computers over here. Who needs a new computer? We need to get that assigned to someone so they can work faster.
I like this guy already.
I know. He's just all about... And now it gets a little excessive because he'll ask me about my vents or my computer monitors like 5 times in one day.
Right.
But he truly does care.
Yeah.
He he's always doing team building events, wanting us to get out of the office and do things together. If you bring up an event that you want to go to and we can go as a team, he's more than willing to look into it and cover the cost for us.
Sounds like that dude has been schooled in the of whatever that philosophy was of like everybody, doing all the stuff, making everybody. But hey, look, it works, right? I mean, you've been there for 9 years, and it means a lot to know that your employer actually cares about your comfort level at work. Because, I've been at a lot of places where they just didn't care. Dude, I was in the military. You think they cared? Like, are you comfortable? I don't care.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they don't care. So let me tell you this. So my air conditioner went out a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the person that works on my air conditioner just happens to be my best friend's husband. They had just left for a cruise.
Oh.
And so we were trying to order the part through him talking to me over the phone and let Brad, our owner, know. And he's like, well, I've got 2 air conditioner units in the storage building. Meet me at the storage building, grab the 2 air conditioner units, pop them in your windows, and then...
Wow.
Yeah, so we kept it for like 4. He's like, keep it as long as you need.
That's...
Yeah, he stopped his day, met us at the storage unit, grabbed the units, and it was, 3 weeks ago, it was 80, 90 degrees outside.
Man, you're just making the case for people coming to work for Brad Sizemore.
Oh, that's what we get behind the scenes. It is very distracting, though, because I'm like, I'm trying to work, Brad, and he's like, how's your computer? It's great, leave me alone. I'm just kidding.
Get me I want the $600 gamer chair. Like these chairs right here, I was like, should I get game chairs? Should I get these chairs? I don't know. I was like, but these look cool. But then I don't have the camera angle that's wide enough to get the kind of shot that I could do it with this one. But the other one just won't do what I want. I'm like, now I got to, I don't think the room's long enough. They're all right. I mean, they're all right. I like them. But I don't know. It's fine. I mean, I was telling Martinez, that's my standing desk, right? Technically up there. So I'll be down here on work and I'm like, I need to get up. I need to get up and just like, not sit anymore. So I'll go up there and work and I'll come down here and then I'll like pace around the table for like.
We have standing desks too.
And
they're electric.
Of course he does.
Because we don't want to use our strength and hurt ourselves.
Right.
So you just push a button.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you ever get rid of those.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you ever like cycle through and get
if
rid
we're
of it.
hiring, I'll let you know.
That's just fantastic. Oh, I like this guy. Mike's.
We get working lunch once a week. That's cool.
Oh.
He buys us lunch once a week. It's brought into the office.
What's the best stuff you've got so far from that? Like from where? Who's the best working lunch in Wilmington?
Ooh, I like when we do catering from Irvs. IRVS.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't tell you guys because then we'll have less priority whenever we order stuff.
I don't know. I mean,
it's just Irvs Catering. It's like one guy and he just brings all the food.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, if you're out there, or you just got an endorsement, buddy.
That's right. It's so good. It's country home-style cooking. He'll do sometimes Greek chicken. Salads are amazing.
Do they do collard greens?
I'm pretty sure they could.
Because like very few people do collard greens properly. And if I'm out and I see him, I'm probably going to try him because I just don't ever see him. And I never did even like collard greens before. When I tried them one time, I was like, well, these are nice. You got to like I put a lot of vinegar on them. I like them real vinegary. Like just collard greens just by themselves, just like,
ooh,
but like salt and vinegar, it's like, I'm in.
The barbecue places around here, I think
most of them don't actually.
They don't have good?
No, because everything's fried.
Oh.
Everything's fried. Like they'll have fried okra, French fries, hush puppies, like fried squash. Everything's fried. And I'm like, you got collard greens? And they look at me like I'm an alien. I'm like, it goes to barbecue, man. Like
It really does.
I don't. But most of them don't. So if anybody's watching, if you have a collard greens recommendation, let me know because I'll go try it and I'll give an honest review. Because,
Collard greens are important.
I'm going to put vinegar on them, just so you know. How has the business evolved from the original idea, and are there aspects of it today that you would have never imagined from the start?
Oh my gosh, it has changed so much.
Really?
When I first came to the industry in 2015, our company wrote with about 4 different insurance companies. We were solely Nationwide insurance. We wrote with Nationwide, the Wind Pool, and we could write with a couple other auto carriers and maybe one other home carrier through another agent that we had a contract with. Now we write with over 100 carriers.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
So what was the catalyst for that? Like, how did that happen?
So the agency was captive. So they were handcuffed by Nationwide. That's the agreement. Brad and his father, and then Brad bought the business, went into business with Nationwide to write solely Nationwide business.
Okay.
And then Nationwide decided to let everyone go, let them be free so they could be independent. So they did whatever contractual thing they had to do to obtain the Nationwide book of business. And then we were able to get appointments with other carriers, and we were able to write business and with so many.
Is that like the Wild Wild West of insurance? I mean, was it just a free for all? So, but then you, it's like, as a small insurance operator, now you can like offer all kinds of different stuff from everywhere. Where was the one thing, or like the one place that he wanted to go that he couldn't get to before? Do you know?
I know one place that I lose out to a lot for my HOAs is a company called Cincinnati.
Okay, but that's it. All right.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, well, just like a segment, right? Like if there was a segment that he was like, I want to get into this segment, but I couldn't before because of the rule structure the way it was before.
Okay, yeah. So Nationwide was pretty restrictive about what businesses that we could write business with. Mm-hmm. I can't think of any specifically off the top of my head, but I know there's some times when we just had to send it off to a partner that we did business with that wasn't affiliated with our agency at all because we weren't able to write the business. We just didn't have a carrier that would do it.
Okay.
So now it's a vast, we can write with, I mean, pretty much anything. I don't think anything's come across my desk that I haven't been able to find a carrier for.
So like, just as a hypothetical, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Let's say I'm a dude and I'm an adventure guy and I want to do bungee jumping and hang gliding.
Yeah.
Because you could insure that.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be cheap, but we could do it. I could get you a life insurance policy too.
It's like you better have that. When I was a kid, I was like, I used to want to be a stunt man. I'm like, oh, because I grew up and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think I ever really wanted to be an actor, but I always wanted to do the stunts. I was like getting thrown through windows and jumping off of buildings on fire and stuff like that. I was like, that's what I want to do. But then I'm like, you know what? That's dangerous. You can get hurt that way. I think I'll just be a hang gliding instructor.
If you
that's
can,
dangerous too.
We can insure trampoline parks.
Yeah.
Right? So those are pretty dangerous.
Good
There's
grief,
almost
man.
everyone that leaves there has broken something.
Yep. I mean, good grief, what a business to get into. It's like, hey, guess what? We're going to do the most dangerous thing. We're going to have kids just flying all over the place off
jump everywhere.
Elastic pads and just.
But we'll cover these springs with pads.
Yeah. But they're still going to break something.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you, I would like to see the statistics on that. And I bet you that there's like one kid per week, like hairline fractures something, if not an outright clean break. Yeah, I don't know how you would get the statistics on that, but I'd like to see, And then it's like, but you know what though? People are going to buy them anyway. But this, a trampoline park is great because you don't have to buy a thing.
Right.
You just take them there and they're covered. And it's like, well, if you break it here, you break it at home. What's the difference? Still broke. Still got to take it to the hospital, kid.
Still got to get worked on. Your homeowner's insurance can exclude liability on your trampoline in your backyard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or they could not write your policy at all. They could just say, nope, you have a trampoline in your backyard. We're not doing it.
Nah, we're not doing it.
No, thank you.
Oh, those shady.
They won't do a skate park. They won't do a helicopter pad. So many things. These are questions we have to ask.
Is there like a unicycle one?
No.
Oh, I shouldn't have said it. Now they're going to... Somebody's going to see this.
Yeah.
And go, we need a unicycle waiver that they can't have it.
You have to sign a terrorism waiver if you don't want terrorism coverage.
I know that
for business policies.
And I'm like, It's like, It's like, well, I don't think a terrorist is going to come. But you never know.
I don't know. You're going big time. You better watch out.
Yeah. So what's a lesson you've learned the hard way? All of my lessons are learned the hard way. And how has it changed your approach to the business?
Lessons I've learned the hard way. Like you said, I mean, there's so many. Pretty much every lesson. I'm very stubborn.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And impatient. And I've always had to be the decision maker in my life and my family. And so being at a company where I wasn't the decision maker.
Yeah.
I'm in the business every day, so I have these ideas and thoughts and feedback. And when someone comes in that is not in my office every day
Yeah.
and wants to tell me how it's supposed to go, I have a hard time with that. So I have to just grit my teeth and sit on my hands and pray. I pray a lot. I have a sign in my office that says, "Good morning, this is God. I will take care of all your problems today. I will not need your help. So enjoy the rest of your day." It's right behind my desk.
I should get one of those.
It is amazing.
I should get one of those. That's fantastic.
Oh,
I happen to wholeheartedly agree. Like, if I have a real big problem with somebody trying to tell me how to do something if they've never done it, and they're like, "Oh, here's what you got to do," and I was like, "Bro, I've been doing this for over a decade, and everything you're telling me is not something that I haven't either already tried or thought about." Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I'm doing it every day, with boots on the ground in this town. So it's like, I appreciate your interest and your input, but until you can do it better than I can do it, then respectfully, I don't know if there's much I can learn from you, except maybe the way to not do it. Because
that could be very true.
it's like, you got good ideas. I love it. I'm an idea guy. I love ideas. Bring them on. But if I've already tried all the ideas, then don't come to me with ideas. Come to me with results, right? Like, because again, you got to prove it to me. You have to prove it to me. I'm out here I might be doing it the hard way. If you can show me an easier way, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm lazier now. The older I get, the lazier I get. Like, I don't want to have to work for money. I want to just do the hard work up front, and then the money just keeps coming.
Residual.
Still working on that, because again, hard head.
I think we all, most of us
Some
are.
people got it figured out, and then it's like, how did they do it? It's like, did your family have money and you're just an idiot, or did you just stumble across something, and you're like an idiot savant, and you just...
It's one of those ideas finally took launch.
Yeah.
I shifted my focus about 2 years ago, and I think my coworkers and staff probably think that I turned into a bee, but
Yeah.
I would have people come to me with problems, and we'd sit there and talk about it, and then they'd come with me the same problem. Come with me again, same problem.
Oh, yeah, see?
Finally, I'm like, all right, you're going to come to me with a problem, but next time you come to me, you're going to come to me with a solution.
Yeah.
Because I can't have you keep coming in here talking to me about the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
Whether it be IT work, insurance, staffing, whatever, personal problems, go get a solution.
Yeah.
Come back in here and tell it to me.
One of the guys I worked with way back in the day, he was a manager, and we were friends. Like, we were friends outside of the business, but he was a manager and I wasn't. And I was just complaining to him about something, and he says, "Dude, I don't mean to sound harsh or mean. It's like, but you're just complaining. So you're like, that's what you're doing." He's like, "I get it. You don't like what's going on." But he's like, "Come to me with a solution, and then I can help you." And I was like,
You can't really say anything.
"You're right. Okay, you're right. All right." And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you learn,
There
And
was
again,
a but in there somewhere. I know you wanted to say it.
Yeah, well, if you're a hard head, like we both are, and you're stubborn, and then somebody hits you with some logic like that, you just, because a stubborn, hard head person, it's hard for us to argue with logic.
Yeah.
So if you come with a better solution than I do, and I don't want to accept it, I have to accept it. Like, I'm gonna have to just go.
Plus, you're a man, so saying the words "you're right"
Yeah, you're right.
is probably
Yeah,
pretty difficult.
Especially where I'm from.
We'll save that for another podcast.
That's for the other podcast. Vision for the future. Where do you see your business in the next 5 years? What's the dream? What steps are you taking to get there?
We currently write business in about 10 states.
Wow.
We want to be able to write business in all 50. We want to be consistent with being able to write business in more states. So we are experts in North Carolina, experts in coastal insurance. We're moving down into South Carolina more on a higher level. We'd love to just take over all the states and have a carrier that will support our clients in all states.
Brad Sizemore coming in. They're taking over, y'all.
Right.
Watch out.
The new Nationwide.
Man,
Just kidding.
it's so, I do enjoy when people have that vision or that drive, because I asked these questions are the same. I asked everybody the same questions, right? And Martinez's answer was, you know, it's all about growth. It's all about this. It's all about. I was like, man, that lets me know I'm in the right spot. You know, like when I came to that group, I was like, oh, because Morgan's there, Elizabeth's there, right? And I was in the group with them too before, so I already knew how effective they were. And then I'm looking around at all these other people. I was like, man, these are some young people. Oh, they're hungry. And then you got Mike and Paula, kind of the elder statesmen, if you were,
Yeah.
but they're hungry too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this group they want it, they want it. And it's
Yeah, we
like,
do.
and like everybody in the group just wants it so bad. And I was like, I'm in the right group. Like I'm in the right group. I'm gonna drop this here and just see if I can run with it. But it's the room that you're in is important because those people are going to have an influence on you and you on them. And right now, especially, I am focused on growth myself. Like I'm trying to sprint to the next thing that I need to be.
Yeah.
Because I got to get to a certain point and I need to do it in a certain time frame. And I'm like, oh, this group here, like I think I can make it happen with this group because everybody is just so hungry. Like the guy I haven't talked to yet, but I want to talk to is Chris Pavosa. He's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, we're
You know?
pretty close. He does pest control at my house,
Yeah.
helping him with his business insurance. So we've got to know each other really well.
I called him, and I actually need him to come out here, but I just think that dude is like, he's kind of off the beaten trail a little bit, and I'm like that dude is interesting. I just want to,
He and my dad hit it off. He came to do some pest control at my house. I let him in, and then I left, and him and my dad, he's like, oh, I love talking to your dad. And then when I got home, my dad's like, oh my gosh, your pest control guy's awesome.
like, I like that dude.
I'm like, all right, Dad, go home.
But he's that guy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he is that dude, and I kind of think we need more like him.
Yeah. Honest, down to earth, fun.
Yeah.
Loves his wife. Oh, he
Yeah.
can't stop talking about his wife.
He loves what he does. You
Yeah,
know?
he loves his job.
I mean, he's honest as you can get, and that just kind of comes out when he starts talking, and it's like he's a guy that you just can't dislike.
Yeah.
If you don't like that dude, it's like there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Advice to entrepreneurs. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received about running the business, and how has it helped you?
Best piece of advice. So, there's so many mentors in the insurance industry. I think it's hard to narrow it down to just one thing. I would think most recently it's been consistency. So whatever you do, be consistent with it. One of the things I'm trying to do to get our agency and myself out more is post regularly on a social media site.
Hey, how about that? You know a guy that does that stuff.
Right? I do. So I just want to have regular content, whether it be relevant, whether to insurance, whether it be relevant to my life. People are nosy. They want to know about your life. I mean, I get more comments and likes and whatever on personal stuff about my life. Being in the attic with my
Yeah.
headlamp on, I got more comments on that than talking about business insurance. So be consistent.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Gary Vee?
No.
He's like he's like one of these dudes from the hustle culture. He's like just outwork everybody, blah blah blah. He's got his own like media company and whatnot. Anyway, he was an early guy on YouTube. He kind of knew how he was like he understood the value of all this stuff way before most people did. So he kind of was early to the game. But he says the way it is now, the business world, he goes, it's not like it was before with social media, with all the video stuff, everything that you can get to. It's like you have to give value before you can ask for a buy. So he goes, he wrote a book, I think it's called Left Jab, Left Jab, Left Jab, Right Hook, or Right Cross, which means that you give value over and over and over because the philosophy of know, like, and trust still exists.
Yeah.
People are not going to do business with you if they don't like you.
Right.
They can't do business with you if they don't know you.
Right.
And they won't if they don't trust you.
Exactly.
So the more you give them, and the more they feel like they know who Joy is or who Brad Sizemore is, because I met this guy and I'm like, he's a good dude. Like,
He's a good dude.
If
yeah.
I don't know what he looks like, but if I knew what he looks like and I saw him just walking downtown, I'd be like, hey, you're Brad. Like, what's up, dude? He'd be like, who's that guy? It's like, it's all right. Your reputation precedes you, good sir. But But again, you give the value so that then when those people are ready to make a decision on something, then they'll go, oh, you know what? That Joy, she was just so joyful. She was so happy. She was, and then they'll go, that's what I want to do. And they may not have ever met you, but they may have seen the content. I mean, 1,300 people saw Martinez, within the span of a week. I mean, I'm doing this all for the eventuality that a lot of it is going to get a lot of views, right? Because why would I do it otherwise?
Right.
But I didn't expect it was going to go nuts like that. And he didn't either. He was like, whoa, so 1,300 people never saw his face before. They now know what he looks like. They now know what he's about. And if they want to go down the rabbit hole, there's an hour and a half of me talking to him, so they could get to know him all the way down to what he feels about everything, And the same thing with anybody. And that's what it's about. It's like they want to know something personal about you, which, and there's levels of disclosure, right? You don't got to tell them everything.
Right.
Way too many people overshare on social media, right? That's why I'm not on a lot of it because I'm like, one, I don't want to know everything about you all the time. Like, you're not that important. Nobody's that important. But for us as business owners, that's the thing we have to do is establish the know, like, and trust. That's why you do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely right.
And, when somebody comes to you and says, oh, I saw your, this or that or whatever, that's when hey, it worked. I hit on a nerve, like some people like this. One of my buddies that owns a gym in Greensboro, he goes, man, he's like, people, he says, look, man, I've been doing this for a while because he posts all the time. He's like, people absolutely love hot chicks and puppies. And
true.
I was like, okay. So then I did an experiment, and I had this married couple that were coming to the gym, and they were like, just using each other as training partners. And they're both tall. They're both youngish. They're both, they were like early 30s. They're both good looking. And there was this one video of the wife just smashing the husband with knees. He was holding pad. She just ripping into him. And that one got more likes than any other thing that I have ever posted on that, and within a 24-hour period. And then the same guy, I was dog watching his dog sitting his dogs because they come down here for vacation, and I posted a 6-second video with his dog.
Puppies and hot chicks, man.
And it was, and that thing went absolutely bonkers. And it got, at the time it was on Facebook, it got like over 100 views in like less than 12 hours. And everybody from Greensboro was like, what are you doing with his dogs? And I was like, don't you worry about that. Don't worry about why I got his dogs.
It's none of your business.
But all the people from Greensboro were watching, because they're interested. They keep track, and they're like, what is he? Why does he have his dogs?
Now, babies and attractive men for women would probably be a good one.
Yeah, but
and sometimes plants also. If you show me a good plant video, I'm all about it.
I think plants are probably going to get more likes than attractive men.
There's not a lot of attractive men out there. So
So there you go, guys. Step your game up, right? Go to the gym,
kidding.
right?
There's plenty of cute
trim up the
guys.
beard, get a haircut. It's and I talked to somebody else about this too. Like, the bar is low for guys. Dress nicely, smell good, trim up, brush your teeth. I mean, it's not a lot. We could do a lot. The bar is low. Anyway, moving on. The emotional journey. And again, this has to deal with entrepreneurship, and you're an entrepreneur in a way, because even though you're an employee, you're still, you have something on the line. It's not just you, So for you, especially when you bounced from the one to the other and found your home, can you share a moment that you felt on top of the world, and another when you felt completely defeated?
Yeah, in the insurance industry as a whole, every day you can have high highs and low lows in the same moment. Do you have a client that you're able to help save the business for your company and give them amazing coverage at a really fair price? And then you've got a low low where your biggest customer of the whole company decides to go with their best friend who's an insurance agent.
Yeah.
And you're worried to death because they don't know that policy inside and out like you did for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen to me. That happened to one of our lead producers, and it was devastating, I think, for the whole company, because we knew how hard that his team had worked on that account, and they simply left because their neighbor or neighbor's best friend was a insurance agent.
And that goes back to just,
it's nothing you did wrong.
Yeah. It's know, like, and trust. And that's the power of who you know. Yeah. I mean, and that's the whole point of being in a networking group, especially in Wilmington, because it's not what you know really down here. It's who you know. Mm-hmm. And you learn that. At some point, you'll learn that coming in. You're just like, oh, you know what? Because you could have the best whatever. But, man, if the movers and shakers don't know you and they don't like you and want to promote you, you ain't going anywhere, right. You know. And it's just, but it's like that everywhere, you know. Which is, it behooves you. That's why that's why I said the importance of relationships, you know. Because literally without those, I would have been destitute. Like they saved me. I mean, I didn't have an income, and I knew all these people, and they're like, "Hey, we can, you know, we got all this stuff," and I was like, "Yay, thank you." Right. So that would have been it for me.
One thing too I wanted to mention is we mentor interns, so we bring young people from colleges,
really?
or even people that are not in college. We do internship program, and seeing one of the kids that we had invited to join our internship program, told him about our business.
Yeah.
He decided he did not want to join the program, that he wanted to get licensed and come in as an associate agent.
Wow.
So
Man.
He did. He got licensed on his own. Huh. He came into our industry on his own as a complete outside sales associate, no income. And when he bound his first insurance policy for a commercial business, I could not have been more proud of him. It's so enriching to see somebody that young come into the industry completely on fire for it and start succeeding right away. It was so strong.
It is rare to see that in young people, right?
Yeah.
Because that kind of, because it's kind of like you eat what you kill kind of attitude, which you need to have that. Like as, if you're in that industry as a whole, like insurance, real estate, investing, mortgages, all of that stuff, you kind of have to have that. You can, and there's two ways to think about it, right? You can be the hunter or you can be the farmer, right? You kind of need to be both, right? But you'll have a tendency to pick one side or the other, right? Oh. And if he's going to be that hunter, man, you know, I would say, like, turn that dude loose, like, go.
He's out there. He's calling in the phone book. We're like,
what's cold calling?
Yes.
What?
That's not something our agency does. We don't cold call.
How old is he?
22,
22-year-old dude out there cold calling. He's been watching a lot of Grant Cardone videos.
He's got a phone book, and he is calling businesses in the phone book. And I'm just so proud of everything that he's doing. And he's making waves.
Well,
getting appointments, putting his name out there.
Yeah, well, that's how you do it, you know. Because again, like I was talking to Britt, and you know, he said that, you know, man, I'm doing something that a lot of people in this town are already doing. So a lot of people who've been here for a while, they're already established, and they have a guy. And I was like, all right, here's what one of the things, the way you need to think about this is that it's hard for you to try to replace that guy that they've known for a long time. Yeah. But you need to be their first alternative if that dude can't make it, right? Or if they get sick or if they're overwhelmed or something like that, right? That's how you're going to be. That's how you're going to provide the value for them, right? And in the meantime, do everything else that you're doing, but like, be that first alternative if the first person just for some reason can't be there.
Think about it with insurance. I am offering a service or a product to you, insurance, that you're required to have by law. Mm-hmm. You already have a guy. Yeah. If you have insurance, you have a guy. Yeah. How can I be your guy? Yeah. What can I do? What have I done? How can I present myself in business? How can I represent you as a small business owner and let me be your guy? Mm-hmm. So that's what I have to think about every day. It's got to be, yeah. And it goes back to values. Like, you have to try to figure out what that person needs and anticipate it, and then say, okay, if here's the thing that I think would benefit you, right? Because that's how you got to do it. I mean, if you're going to try to sell somebody, it's not about me. It's about what can I do for you? Right. The impact of failure. Have there been any failures that you now see as a blessing in disguise?
How did they contribute to your success?
I'm gonna go with. Can I talk about relationships, like personal relationships?
Yeah, yeah. You can talk about what you want to. You can go as deep or as shallow as you want.
Yeah. I would say relationships. I was married for a short time, a few years, and that was an amazing relationship as far as what I was able to get from the relationship. I got to travel the world. I moved over to Europe. I got to
Sweet.
know he was a soldier, so I got to know the military lifestyle, the military wife. I wanted to work, but I couldn't. I didn't have to because we were
Right.
stationed overseas. That unfortunately, the marriage failed. We both agreed we got married for the wrong reasons. He wanted a family. I wanted to stop, being a single mom with a 3-year-old at the time. And we got married for the wrong reasons, and we separated for the right reasons, I think, even though we probably should have made it work.
Well, it's better. I think it's better to separate for the right reasons than to
Yeah,
stay for the wrong ones. I mean, and it's good because there's so many of those stories don't end that way. Are
yeah.
you? Are you guys? So you guys are still
We
friendly?
don't. Yeah,
You don't.
we decided we did
But
not need
that's
to.
great though because again, that it sounds like it was an adult breakup.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It was
which
still very sad. I mean, we were both
yeah,
broken up about it, and I've had other long term I'm a long term relationship. What do you call that? Like a person who's always in long term
yeah, the
relationships.
serial monogamist.
Serial. Yeah, I don't like dating. Dating sucks.
Yeah,
So
that's a whole other show.
yeah.
But I happen to agree. It is a the word I want to say. I'm not gonna say, but it's a circus. It's a clown
Yes,
show for
yes.
everybody. But yeah, let's do yeah.
But you learn so much. I was in a relationship that I really wanted to be in. I wanted to be in it for the kids. The kids were great friends. We lived close. We had the same interests. I really wanted to be in that relationship. And it just was not a good person to be in a relationship with.
Right.
They were not going the same direction as me. They were pulling me down. They were causing me more work. I was pouring and pouring and pouring into them, and I wasn't getting anything in return.
Yep.
And I had to cut off that relationship. I had
Yeah.
to cut off the relationship with the children. My daughter had to stop being friends with those people because it was toxic.
Yeah.
And I pray for those. I pray for them. The kids are doing great. I
Well,
don't know
good,
about the other
good.
person, but I had to shift my focus, and that was really, really hard to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be reciprocal. I think. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to give my 2 cents about it, but like a healthy relationship, I think, is where both people are rejuvenating each other and are helping to refresh and renew, right? Community and collaboration. Who has supported you the most on this journey, and how have they influenced your success? And you can't say Brad.
Okay.
See, he's Brad. You're the MVP so far, but has there been anybody else who's been like a standout person that's kind of helped you
Yeah.
through this?
So early on, when I first came to work at our agency, we had a office manager. Her name is Tracy, and she was always showing me things and letting me excel and anything that I can do to help her. She was always willing to show me. And then Linda, she's our rock star CSR. She's like our number one CSR at our company, and she showed me everything. My first week of work, she gave me a card that said, like, rock star, you're doing a great job. And it just like brought me up so much because I knew I had screwed up so much. Like, we had 5 different people named Maria, Marianne, Marissa, like so
Oh
many
gosh,
different
yeah,
names. So
yeah.
I was getting phone calls sent out to all the wrong people. I was like, I had no idea how to take payments. I had no idea what I was doing that first week. And I felt like I was doing such a bad job. And she just continued to encourage me and train me. And she's like my lead person right now. And I can't speak highly enough about her.
That's
She's
fantastic.
really encouraged me. And then our operations manager, Marion, she was my mentor for the longest time. And she showed me so much just about how to be a professional business person in the industry. So
That's awesome.
yeah, lots of ladies.
Yeah, well, but it's just a lot of support. I mean, that's the amount of involvement and support that you get from this particular place. No wonder you stay there for that long. I mean, it just sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, because it is. Because if it was terrible, you would have left.
Oh yeah.
But that's man, that's great. I mean, that's great because I don't know if I've ever worked anywhere like that.
I mean,
Why
every place has their days where you go home and you drink a whole glass of wine, and by glass I mean bottle.
Bottle, yeah.
And then there's some days where you go home and you're like, okay, I will just look at the wine, but not open it quite yet. And there's some days
Just
when you
wait.
ask to leave early so you can go drink wine across the street.
I need to go. I need to leave and be away from you people.
And then there's some days where your coworkers bring you wine.
There you go.
Those are my favorite days.
Yeah, yeah. Unexpected success. Has there been a moment of unexpected success or recognition that took you by surprise? And what was that like?
Just recently, the 40 under 40 list, I was sitting in a big meeting, and I was like in the back of the room, and we were training some new people, and I looked at my phone, and I was getting congratulation messages, and I'm like, what is this about? What is this? And I clicked on one of the pictures, and my name was on the list, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm getting chill bumps thinking about it.
What?
Because I was seeing other people's names. Like, I knew what the list was.
Yeah.
And I was seeing other people's names, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's incredible. Oh wow, this person's such a contributor to the community. Oh, this person, runs the hospital and does this and that. And then to see my name on that list, I was like, who did this? Like, who nominated me to be on this list? And I found out multiple people did. And I just never I never even thought about it.
Wow.
So I was really honored and
That's amazing.
I know.
That is
I feel
amazing.
so
Dude.
awesome. I cannot thank everybody enough for thinking of me on the same level as some of the other people in the community.
That's fantastic.
I was super surprised.
But that just lets you know how, you drop a pebble in a pond and all the ripples. Yeah. So this lets you know that you have a good ripple effect.
I hope so.
I
try to. I just want to uplift people. I just want to bring people up with me. I mean, I say it all the time. I joke at work. I'm like, with my sales team, say, you better watch it because I'm your competition now. But in all actuality, I'm, sending them business I don't get a chance to work on, or I'm, trying to lift them up, or I'm doing the best I can to people in the community. Your small business or anybody's small business. So it takes me 4 seconds to post something on social or leave a good Google review.
Right. Yeah.
Great. I'm not going to go in there and leave a negative Google review. I'm going to talk to you in person and ask you if there's a way I can help you not do whatever you did that made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, the thing is, too, that the negative reflex is so much stronger than the positive reflex. And that's why people get caught up in these stupid Facebook arguments.
Oh, my gosh. That's ridiculous. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I don't either. And I didn't even know, I didn't know that was a thing until I was in the middle of one. I was like, wait a second, why is this person going nuts on me on this? I was like, I just made a joke, and this person's offended. I'm like, did I? And I'm talking to friends, like, did
Personal reflection, trying to figure out if you did.
Am I the a-hole here, man? I just made a joke. Like, it's a puppy and a hot chick. Like, what's going on? Like... And I forget what it was, but I had such a backlash over this one thing. I was like, oh, I'm getting off of Facebook. This is crazy. Like, I don't need to be around you nerds. Like, this is
too much. Like, if you need something to do, I've got work for you. So please come
exactly.
get off Facebook. I got stuff for you to do.
You can go to Brad Sizemore Insurance, become an agent, start chasing down that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's right there. That's the one.
It's so easy.
So last one here. Oh, we've reached the end. So sad. This has been fun. Your legacy. When people talk about you and your business years from now, what do you hope they will say? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Well, it's a good one, ain't it?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I want to say that I was an encourager. My dad is a huge advocate for just helping people and being stepping in and running towards the fire instead of away from it. My friends say that all the time, oh my gosh, if there was a burning building, we'd have to pull you away because you would run inside the building. Well, yeah, because I would need to help someone. But I just want to be known as a helper and an encourager.
That's a very noble legacy. Ever since I was a little kid, I'm like, I want to be somebody that's valuable to the tribe. To be considered like worthless or valueless to the tribe, like having nothing to offer.
I can't do that.
That would kill me. That would kill my soul.
there's moments when you're going to need someone to be there for
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
We
But
all do, right? Everybody does, because that's like the human thing.
Yeah.
And people that are like, what I've kind of the thing that I've learned too is like, there's no the people that say, oh yeah, I did it all by myself. You did not. No, you didn't. Nobody does. Nobody does it all by themselves. Nobody. Somebody helped you. Probably a lot of people helped you, right? And the quicker you realize that and show appreciation and gratitude for those people, the further you'll go faster. I had a lot of people who
Yeah.
were there even when I didn't think they were, you know, and now I'm older now and I can look back and see and I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad they were there. You know, thank God for them. And I'm glad they were there because now, you know, now I'm back. You can't get rid of me. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things I think again that it means more to you the older you get. You know, it's one of those things that very few young people I think can grasp this concept fully. You know, they may get it. And they're like, oh, you know, gratitude and this and that and whatever, and being, you know, showing appreciation. So few of them, like that young dude you're talking about at the office. I think that dude gets it.
can I
right?
give him a shout out?
Yeah. Go ahead. Shout him out.
Kevin. Kevin's your guy.
Kevin.
Kevin's the guy.
Call Kevin. Call Kevin at Brad Sizemore.
He's a go-getter. If
He's
you want a go-getter in the insurance industry,
Yeah.
you need to give Kevin a call. Yeah.
Or if you do, he might call you.
He probably will. So just stand by your phone. Keep your phone back.
He's going to call you, man. He ain't waiting for you. He's going to get it.
I think he's in the B's of the alphabet, so he's getting close if you're in the lower part of the alphabet.
One of the guys that I really, really like and admire, he actually did that. He was using meditation, and this is kind of how I got into this whole other stuff in the first place. He was working at this place, and then one guy was just killing it all day, you know, and everybody else was just cold calling, but this guy was just killing it all day. He's like, dude, how are you doing this? He goes, all right, man. He's like, stay with me. It's going to sound weird. He's like, but before I even pick up the phone, I just meditate, and I just open the phone book, and I just kind of let my finger land on a spot, and
That's it.
like that. So then I pick up the phone. I'm like, this person's gonna,
I'm getting the deal.
they're gonna need this, and I'm gonna get it. And his close rate was like 80%. But there's something to be said about chasing something, like chasing sales or chasing the money, as opposed to being attractive, right?
Yeah.
So you want to attract stuff instead of chase it away, you know, which kind of goes back to the give the value kind of thing. So if you call somebody and go, hey, do you have this problem? Because I can solve it. And they say no. It's like, okay, well, keep us in mind if you do.
Yep.
You know, that way you're not wasting their time. You just move on to the next one. So if you're cold calling, that's the way to do it. But if you call them and you're like, hey, do you have this problem? And they're like, yes, I do. It's like, oh, well,
Yep.
let me.
Oh, I'm so glad I called you.
You got a minute? Like, oh, yeah. It's like, yeah. Aren't you glad I called? You know?
That's one of the first questions when I'm talking with commercial prospects is what are your pain points in business?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's nothing related to insurance, but
Right.
it comes around to insurance. Or it's a problem I can solve that has nothing to do with insurance, and they're just real happy I solved it, and I don't get the deal right then, but we keep a relationship.
Yeah. But again, you gave them value by solving a problem that wasn't related to your field.
Yep.
And so when they do need the insurance, who do you think they're going to? Because nobody else has done that.
Right.
You know? So for you people out there who are wondering where your niche is, do that, right? Be the person who solves a problem. It might not even be in your field, but if you create that value for somebody, that's an added thing that you did that you didn't have to do, right? And then when that person's like, oh, you know what, this policy is about to be up, or I'm going to need this service or whatever, that's when they're going to remember you.
Yep.
You know, they're going to be like, oh, that Joy, she did this for us. Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you want to talk about? Anything that you're like, oh, I want to say this. I got to get this out there.
Not that I can think of.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that means we did a thorough job.
I think so.
Okay. Well, let's tell the people how they can find you.
All right. You can find me at Brad Sizemore Insurance. We're at 4815 Oleander Drive. You can call me on my office line, 910-444-0926. Or you can email me. It's simply my name, Joy, Joy, at bradsizemoreiinsurance.com.
Fantastic. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thanks for taking the time.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
Yeah.
I love this, and I always learn something, and that's kind of why I like to do it too, because I'm I'm this person who loves to learn something, anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
But you can't not. Some days I say
Yeah.
I don't want to learn anything, and then I learn like 3 things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, ugh.
It's like I was. Yeah. It's like I didn't even want to use my brain today.
Right.
Thanks. Right.
Super.
I had to learn something anyway. Well, Joy, it's been a pleasure.
Same
Thank
to
you so much.
You're going to do so good. You just keep
I hope so.
doing it.
So, well, yeah, I mean, I'm
These
doing
are great
this-
questions.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. All right. And everybody out there, we'll see you next time on the Business Builder Podcast.